There you are. Stupid YouTube. Ruined that whole live feed, in my opinion. I don't even. I almost just want to trash that whole live feed. But, were you guys. Could you still hear me? Could you hear me? You just couldn't, like, were you commenting and I just didn't see it? Because it froze way up on Billy's last comment and I just didn't see anything after that. Oh, right on. That sucks. 'Cause that was fun. I was just starting to have fun doing the live feed, and of course it had to cut out. So I'm gonna show you what I've got. Like, I ended up leaving one day. I showed up, and I got shown these two trees. Um, and they were way bigger than they were supposed to be, of course. And ended up being in way worse shape. And one of them we didn't even mess with. I ended up leaving, but I plan to go back and see what I can do. And I'm going to show you kind of what it looked like and what my concerns are. I meant to show you this last week, or maybe it was during the live feed where I was doing my saddle stuff. Regardless, I'll show you now. Then we can kind of discuss it. You guys tell me what you think. But I'll show you what my concerns with it are, and it's a sketchy one. So all right. So we have a house, and all this shit is on this hillside. So porch, there's a door, there's a window. Yeah. So let me show you what this looks like. And I can turn this way. We can do it like this. Yeah, we'll do something like this. So here's what oh, my bad. Here's what I got. Okay, so the house is 10 times bigger than what this looks. The tree is on the side of the house and it arcs out, goes completely over, goes way out here. So the spot where it's open is this backyard. It's more wide open back here. The problem is the tree stretches to the front yard, and there's so much house that you would have to clear before it would be good enough, and the potential for this hinge breaking like is pretty extreme because the lean to it is even almost more than this. It goes horizontal up across the house. And the issue, I'm looking up and I'm seeing at a couple crucial spots, I'm seeing what I don't want to see. So I'm seeing like right here, it goes up, it takes a hard dog leg, like in this area right here, and I'm seeing like rot right here, where there was a maybe a top at one point that broke out, and there's still like the stub of it, like sitting there. That I don't like. I'm like, damn. So if I get up here, I get tied in, and I try to rig off this, the potential of it breaking right here is pretty high. That sucks. So I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. I would risk going up this thing, it's dead, and tying in here on these ones that go vertical and hoping I'm good. But that dead right there, to try to rig this section, you would almost have to rig it kind of big and then tag line it way back to get it to come down here. There is a technique that I kind of thought about using where you would hang a strap here with a ring. Okay, that would go down. I'd probably put another one here with a ring. Then I'd put the bollard down here. Alright, so we have the bollard. It'll go up to the rope. Let's use a different color to do this stuff with the rope. Okay. So you can kind of see that. Now it goes up, negative rig, and then transfer back, lower down, away from the house. I'm thinking there's maybe a chance I could do something similar to that, share the load between this tree, and there is another one a little back from it, but it's much smaller. It's a much smaller tree, but, or I could tie in to that. I don't think I could tie into that tree. I think this one's taller. I could try to hang it and then try to transfer it, but I have probably the man parts where I could just drag if I need, like with the tagline. So what I was thinking is we set up a system and then we put ourselves. I hope I put that cap on that. All right. So I would set up almost a rigging setup like normal, and I would go up here. I would probably put one more ring right here. Okay. I gotta stop putting the cap on that because then I can't get it off with just one hand. So then that would connect the rope from that ring to that ring. So we've created, oh shit, we've created a good little fishing pole set up here. So it's going to compress into the tree, and the potential for it breaking here is a little less. The problem is so much impact is going to happen here, and this starts to go horizontal, which gravity's then adding to everything, which I don't like. It's not causing complete compression because of that gnarly bend that it's got into it. So what I'm thinking about doing is taking right here, and instead of taking the rope off of here, running it out and clipping it on there, and cutting this right here and hanging that, I'm actually thinking about possibly anchoring the rope directly after this ring, like right here. Okay? Then attaching the CMI pulley and strap on right here. So I would wrap this limb up and I would attach the pulley to it. And what would happen is the rope, actually I should put that back. It looks crazy. And I would attach the rope to that. So what's going to happen in that case, instead of just anchoring it first, I would run the rope from this, I would run it around that, and then anchor it. Or around it that way and anchor it on the backside. But what's going to happen is when I cut this limb loose, it's going to fall. Or no, I did that wrong. Holy cow. Alright, so anchor like I did. Like I was saying. We're anchored off. I would take this span of rope and I would connect it around that pulley, and then it would go into that ring. So then it would tighten that up. So when I cut it loose, it's actually dropping into this point, but then it's going to fall that limb down. It's going to ride a span from right here to here and down into here. And what'll happen theoretically is this will end up drooping down there. It will go up to there through that ring, and attached onto this will be the pulley to the strap and then the limb. So it's going to fall down, and like that's with him letting it out some. It's going to drop it, it's going to let it hinge down because of the anchor right here and not have to fall a long ways to get into the rope. So then as it starts to creep, it'll fall into this, it will slide down this, and before it hits right here, technically, if there's space, he could start to let it out. And instead of it putting more of the force here, it shares it between this one and this one on more of a straight up and down on the tree as opposed to a horizontal area. So the main lowering point being right here on a fishing pole is going to put a lot of bend in the first initial force here, and then it's going to share it from there to there to there to there. But that bend being right here, I don't like. I'm afraid this thing's going to break here. So if I do this, it does the same thing in theory, but it shares it between this one and this one. So what do you think? Need good pre-tension, you think? Do you understand what I'm saying with that? Technically, I don't even have to use a ring here. I could just anchor the rope. I could eliminate the ring, and just the rope would have went, instead of here, the rope would have went up, here, and then just out to that pulley, and then back over and anchored. So there would be the limb still there. Be hooked on to the pulley. So then it would fall down. You'd pre-tension that as much as you possibly could, and it would run right into it. So then it would droop down a little, and it's going to have a little bit of slack in between here, a little more dip down. So I would have to check and see what's my height, what I have for height right here. But I think that may be the safer route as opposed to shocking it and causing that flex with the fishing pole. It's not, fishing pole's nice, but the problem with it is this has such a bend to it that this being in the worst spot, that rot. So, damn, my brother keeps sending me 95 messages right now in the middle of this live feed, trying to make sure he chops this one off too. See, kind of getting what I'm saying there. What's up, Brandon? The other option is to try to fall this thing. So, to do that, I'm trying to figure that out too because, okay, what I was telling you guys, I didn't even tell you one of the main things here is there's also a hollow spot in this tree right here that I could see. A big hollow hole, which tells me the trunk is hollow. I'm seeing a little spot down here at the base too that I worried about that looks like maybe it's a drain hole. So I'm not seeing that the tree is all that strong. So more than likely you're going to have outer edges of cambium, which is never fun to deal with. And you need to clear so much house to pull it to the backyard. There's less house to clear if you pull it to the front yard, but it needs to be creeped through a bunch of trees, and it has to be committed before it gets into a tree, because if not, I got a fear of it rolling off the stump and getting the house. So it's an aggravating, complicated situation, and I don't know if I'm actually explaining it totally right on camera, but should work just fine. I'm thinking that may be my route. Originally, I said I won't climb the tree. It's too dangerous to try to rig out of. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, I could use maybe that technique with some pretension, and it would dampen itself as it slid down that line, sliding from here to here. It would dampen a little bit of that weight getting into the system if it was pre-tensioned really tight with the CMI rope jack. As it came off, it would the stretch would come out of that and it would dampen a little bit of that. Plus, it would share the load from here to here in a span, as opposed to it going up here and dropping off here and causing that flex in this tree at this bad spot that I'm just afraid it's gonna break right there. I just wouldn't want slack because then it would be more violent. Yeah, yeah. It, well, yeah. You're right. You're right. Super tight though is like not allowing stretch. Like you're taking the stretch out of that drop. That's the thing. Like you get stretch in a rope. Sometimes when you pre-tension, you're taking that stretch out, so it comes off totally tight. So it's a give take in some of them situations, depending on how much potential strength that you have in that particular tree that you're in or limb that you're rigging off of. So I get what you're saying though, ground pounder. There's like between the two rings. Yeah. Sounds like a lift tree to me. Yeah, you can't get a lift to it though. Follow me 100. Okay, right on. Any good trees around? Always. For him. It don't seem. Yeah, exactly. The load is going to the lower ring. Yeah, it's sharing it a little more, but the fishing pole should share it no matter what. But it's the initial grab is shared between them two, and it bypasses a little bit of it on that bad point when it does the span. So it's still doing the fishing pole because there's a ring below it and causing compression in that part of the tree that is actually vertical. And as it starts to begin the arc out to go flat, I'm trying to shear there because the potential for it breaking there is where the whole worry's at. So one tree might I go to the house. I use a tree behind it as a redirect to ease load onto the spot I was rigging from, because if not, yeah. And sometimes you want that fishing pole reaction to happen. To, it's just when there's a point where it gets so horizontal that then you almost don't want that. So actually, what I'm thinking, if not, if I get there and I'm like, I just can't be climbed, I'm gonna have to pull over. And in that situation, the cut is either going to have to go that way or that way. So you are cutting with all the tension over the house, and you need it to go this way or this way. So the potential for this side to break off is really high because of this side pulling. If it's hollow, I'm going to have very little hinge to work with. You know, let's say it's like that. And I legit only have these two little strips on the side for hinge. That's it. That's a worry because the potential for this side blowing up and that side just going over is really high. So I almost want to take a drift line. I get a pull line attached here and either take it out the direction I want to follow the front yard or the backyard. But I also want a drift line that is stopping it from going at the house, but it needs to be a little in the favor of the direction I'm going to take it. If I'm going to the front yard, that drift line needs to be a little bit to the front yard and tight. A little to the front yard, but against this lean, directly against, but a little in the favor of the front. If I'm going to the back, I want to be a little bit in the favor of the back. That way, it allows for that first initial movement to happen and for it to commit. And then if it was to break off, that line it is looking to keep it tight and allow the butt to break off and it to swing. And if that was to happen, you almost want to go to the front yard because you have like 4 times less house to move that tree over as opposed to going to the backyard. You have 4 times as much house to go over. It's almost in the front yard, like it's on the back side of the porch. But if you go to the backyard, you have the entire house that you got to get over and the little addition on the back. That is like the leaning way, maybe that I don't know. I don't know. It's so confusing. It's one of them ones where it's like, is it worth it? So, what's going on, James? Yeah, I had to stop that other one. I just ruined it somehow. I don't know how I did it, but yeah, it was the chat was froze. So, guys, I just wanted to discuss with you guys this little thing here. So, see if anybody had any ideas. Um, that bend is gnarly though. That's in this, and there's a whole lot of tree that goes out to the side. So potentially, I would tie into one of these. Try to rig off there, but I'm afraid, like right here on the back side of this limb is where that rot's at, and there's a pretty good size like limb that was there that's broken and like all jagged where you can see it broke off. Um, so I'm worried that that's where the hollow begins, and water set into that spot, and then it worked its way down, and that's why I see a big hole right here. It's not a big hole, but it's like about that size, and it's a very obvious hollow cavity. So concern of it breaking off the stump is really high, and that's where my worry for this thing's come from. But I think it may be a candidate to try that technique where you get it to drift backwards and go down the tree and lower your lowering point being the rope coming down there as it rides the line down and it goes down here. So if you check your angles where your forces are happening, you're dispersing a little bit more than you would be if you were just rigging straight off that and it would still be over the house. So this may be the technique, like a drop back span rig. No, you told me. So you're basically span rigging, but with a little bit of speed line action because it's allowing the piece to come off and then ride the line to there till it gets to this ring, and then you lower it down. No, yeah, you did. Dang it. Yeah, do more stupid stuff. You'll make it, I promise, Brandon. If you're a narcissist, those are my favorites to cover. So be a bit more narcissistic. Guys, thank you again. You guys are the best. We have our own little crew here. Don't subscribe if like you have all these extra feelings that people have nowadays. It's probably not your place. We're a tight knit little community over here, and this channel is not meant for everybody. So if it is, welcome. But I'm just telling you, for most of you, this is just not the channel for you. We're a little too rough over here, and a little bit sarcastic to 90% of things. Some people are just too serious. Guys, Mike, I was just getting home. Oh, Dan. Hey, well, sorry, but I did a little. This was a little one. My original live feed messed up. The chat froze. I talked for another 45 minutes to myself. Everybody was there, but you can't respond. So I jumped on one more time to talk to you guys. This one was a short one. We're at 26 minutes. Guys, thank you all so much. You guys are the best. I appreciate the hell out of you. Um, and don't tell your friends about this channel. We're going to keep it just us. I think if we was to blow up, there would just be too many like Karens ruining everything. So I'll catch you next time. Enjoy your week. Have a safe work week. But I guess more than your week, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe. I'll catch you next time. See you guys.